Alright, there we go. Yo! What's good, chat? We're gonna hang out for a little bit here while we wait a couple of minutes for some people to pull on through. Notifications should be going out right now if you are subscribed. If not, make sure you go subscribe because you're missing out. I don't upload on here much, but when I do, the content's always awesome. Gonna start doing that more though. Um, we're just gonna wait a couple of minutes here until some people get in here. Let me text some people to make sure they see it. Alright, I see we got one person in here. Trying to... If my phone ends up falling, I'll pick it up. Cause it is leaning against my Xbox right now, and my dresser is kind of sloped, so if my phone falls, I apologize. You guys might end up on the ground, but I'll pick you guys up. I'm here. Alright, cool. I'm waiting to see if we can get a couple more people to pull up in here before I start talking wrestling, because I don't want to be in the middle of conversation and then all of a sudden people start joining in and saying stuff. You know what I mean? I don't want people to just pop in and start saying stuff middle of the stream. Yo, what's good, Joe? Alright, so we got 2 in here. If we can get up to 3 to 5 people and it's steady and we don't move for a little bit, I'll start talking. But I want to I'll go to probably 4 minutes on the timer before I start talking wrestling, because I want to I posted the link everywhere I could. I posted it on Twitter, I posted it on Discord, I sent it to some people I know. I posted it any possible place I could. So we should get some people in here. If people in the Discord actually give a shit and aren't just in the Discord to talk amongst themselves and to, talk wrestling with other people, and if they're not just in the Discord to post their self-promotion shit, they'll join in. If people on the Twitter actually care about content and actually want to follow along with what I posted on Twitter through my voice, they'll pop in. Because I did post a thread on Twitter about SummerSlam, and that is basically what I'm going to be going off of. Obviously, I'm going to be more detailed on here because I don't have a fucking character limit. But alright, we're going to go... Wait till 4.5. We haven't really moved, but we'll wait until 4.5 to see, and anybody else that pops in throughout the course is just gonna have to wait till I'm in a sentence break for me to acknowledge them. Let me... Whoop. Let me send it to a couple more people. Alright. Hold on, guys. Give me a sec. Alright. Alright, we got 3. We're 6 minutes in. Let's start the discussion here. Where did I put the thingy? Here it is. Alright. Let me scroll up to the top. Alright. So, we're going to start. Jelly Roll's performance. Obviously, when I initially watched it yesterday, I did not watch the full thing. I couldn't get it turned on quick enough because I got signed out of my Peacock on my phone for some reason. So, I had to sign back in, and by the time I got actually in, he was holding up the microphone, and the crowd was cheering, and the song was over. So I didn't actually get to see the live performance until when I just did the rewatch. Obviously, he's Jelly Roll. It was a good performance, but we're not here to talk about musical performances on a wrestling show. We'll start with the first match. Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World title. Obviously, the crowd wanted Rhea. I wanted Rhea. I know a bunch of people that wanted Rhea. And even though we all expected what happened to happen, the way it did pissed me off. I will admit, the way it happened pissed me off. Obviously, Liv Morgan retained over Rhea Ripley thanks to dirty dirtbag Dominic Mysterio being the fucking scumbag I always knew he was and turning on his mommy, the woman who literally made his fucking career. So, Dom Mysterio, obviously, if you watched the event, which I'm pretty sure everybody in here did, because it was the most streamed SummerSlam in history, I think, and it broke attendance records for the event. So, obviously, if you watched the match, there was a lot of good spots in that match, including Rhea Ripley popping her shoulder back into place fucking twice. Overall, something just felt off to me with Dom from the moment he was on the screen until the moment he was off the screen. Pretty much. From the moment Rhea put her arm around him as they were walking towards the curtain and everything, something just felt off. You know, it felt to me like he was forcing those smiles. And at certain points, when she was outside the ring, it felt to me like he was purposely holding her up in certain spots so Liv could try to attack. And then when she didn't, that's when he realized, like, I gotta move or people are gonna get suspicious. And then eventually she did attack. Liv did attack, and Dom obviously took the bullet and pushed Rhea out of the way, further selling, okay, he's actually going to side with Rhea. And then, just a couple moments later, he's throwing a chair in the ring. Everybody's like, okay, he wants Rhea to use it. He's pointing at the referee, trying to get her attention. He wants Rhea to use the chair. He wants to help Rhea win. All of a sudden, Liv Morgan hits Oblivion on the chair, pins Rhea. They show Dom. He's smiling. I actually started yelling at the screen, calling Dom a fucking piece of shit when that happened. I was like, you motherfucker, you really just did that. And then he helped Liv to her fucking feet and kissed her right in front of Rhea. He revealed himself to be the dirty scumbag I always knew he was. From the moment he turned on his father, I will say I never used to hate Dom Mysterio. I was a Dom Mysterio fan. When he was a face with his dad, they were a tag team. They became the first father-son duo to ever be tag champs. I was rooting for Dom. I was like, okay. Liv brought the chair. No. This was later on. Dom brought out another chair. Yeah, I know the spot you're talking about. Rhea tried to use the chair on Liv, and then Dom grabbed the chair from Rhea and told her, you can't win the title this way. Which, that's when Liv hit Oblivion the first time. Or no, that's when Liv had kicked Rhea into Dom, then hit Oblivion, then Rhea kicked out. And then a couple moments later, Dom grabbed another chair from the other side of the ring, threw it in the ring, and then distracted the referee. That was right near the end of the match. I remember that. I know what spot you're talking about, but I was talking about a different one. But either way, I never used to hate Dom Mysterio. I was a fan of him. I was like, this kid's going to go places. He's going to have a good career. He's going to be champion. He's going to do great things under his dad's leadership. And then he turned on his father. But I was like, this guy just lost his one fucking chance at being a solid competitor. You are under the wing of your father, who is arguably the greatest luchador wrestler of all fucking time. Arguably the greatest Mexican wrestler of all time. And you turned your back on him. And then, obviously, I didn't like him, but I came around and I'm like, okay, you know, Rhea's with him. She's one of the best in the company. He's also in the company of Finn Balor. He's in the company of Damian Priest. You know, he's in the company of 3 really good competitors. Priest obviously took a little bit to get his rise, but he was still good. He was just under the radar. Finn Balor has obviously always been good. Rhea Ripley has obviously always been good. So he was in the company of 3 really good competitors in terms of moveset, in terms of in-ring work, mic work, you know, popularity, everything. He had the opportunity to succeed. But I just wasn't a fan of him. And it wasn't just because he turned on Ray. I just didn't think that he would actually be able to do anything. And then Rhea Ripley helped him get a North American title match. He won it. Then he lost it because he was an idiot. Rhea helped him get a rematch. He won it again. And then he lost it. He threw everything away just for a blonde bimbo that calls him daddy. That fucking word, this storyline is proof that calling a man daddy puts a shiver in his knees. Because this motherfucker went from being a submissive bitch. Oh, mommy, I love my mommy, mamacita, blah, blah, blah. To, oh, I actually want to be called daddy. How do you go from this submissive bitch and calling a woman mommy to, oh, I want to be daddy? What? What? You switched up. Just because a woman ushered that one fucking word that sends basically every man into a frenzy. If a man says they don't get frenzied or flustered, or I can't say those words on here because it's YouTube, but if a man says they don't get flustered by the word daddy, they're fucking lying. Everybody knows it. 99% of men get flustered by that word, regardless of anything, regardless. If a woman that isn't of relation to them calls another man, calls a man daddy, he's folding. It might take a little bit, but he's fucking folding. This storyline was perfect example of that. Now, granted, did I like Dom turning on Rhea? No. As a Rhea fan, obviously not. But as a wrestling fan, I understand it had to happen. I'm excited to see where the story's going to go next. And Dom, I hope you are in hiding, because you better be. If you are not in hiding, you better hide. If you are thinking about showing up to Raw tomorrow night, I wouldn't. Alright, we've talked enough about Dom, Rhea, Liv, whatever. Next thing. What the hell was the next thing on the schedule here? Let me scroll up. Oh, yeah. The aftermath with Dom turning on Rhea. Priest being pissed off. And obviously immediately comes in, kicks a stool, grabs Finn by the shirt. Obviously that storyline we knew once Rhea got turned on by Dom, not in that way. We knew once Dom turned on Rhea, it was going to go downhill. Somebody was going to turn on Priest. It was most likely going to be Finn Balor. And it was going to happen probably the same night that Rhea got betrayed. Sure as shit, Dom betrays Rhea. A couple hours later, Priest gets betrayed by Finn Balor. But the storyline, the backstage scene immediately after the Rhea Liv match. That storyline that segment I actually liked. I actually enjoyed that segment because it helped further cement the friendship that Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest have. It further cemented the possibility of the Terror Twins becoming a thing on TV, and it further cemented the heel turn, well, not heel turn, but the betrayal of Finn Balor to Damian Priest. And then, obviously, that was that. The only question I have left with the whole Judgment Day thing now is, what the fuck does Carlito do? The guy came back, went with LWO, betrayed them, and that feud ended. He got stuck in limbo. So WWE said, alright, we're going to put you on TV with Judgment Day. You're not going to be, announced as a member. You're not going to wear their colors, but you're going to hang out in their clubhouse. You're going to be on TV every week, hanging out in their clubhouse, playing the PS5 with them, eating food, whatever. You're going to be basically an extra act of comedy for the group. He wasn't officially made a member, but he was definitely put in association with the group. That's my only question is, does he stay? Does he end up remaining with the group? Do they keep the name Judgment Day? Because now that both of the two founding members of the group are gone, does that group stay alive? Because Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest were the first two people to ever join that faction back when Edge started. Now that they're both gone, or not officially, I guess, technically yet, but going to be, does the name stay the same? Does the group remain the same? Personally, I don't think the group is going to stay together. I think they might. I think Finn and JD obviously are going to stay together because they've been friends and they're the tag champs. But once they lose those tag titles, I think Finn's going to go back to Prince Finn Balor and may bring back the Demon at some point. Probably going to be for a match against Priest, I would think. But whatever the case may be, it's going to definitely be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how that storyline goes. Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn. I think everybody going into this match, even if they cheered for Sami, knew Braun Breaker was winning. I can't really name one person that expected or predicted Sami Zayn to actually walk out of SummerSlam with the title. I'm not saying it was a bad reign. He had a solid reign, considering, you know, all the shit that's going on TV right now at once. He had a solid reign. His reign was honestly underrated, considering all the stuff that's going on TV at once, with Cody Rhodes feuding with the Bloodline and being helped by Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. You know, the Judgment Day's potential implosion, Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. You know, LA Knight and Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, all that stuff going on at one time. And Sami Zayn was over here having a underrated Intercontinental title run. And he's obviously still over with the crowd, because when he came out, the crowd cheered him, they wanted high fives, whatever, the crowd was happy. The crowd was cheering. So he's obviously still over with the crowd. But it was his time to lose that title, because obviously he was the one to dethrone Gunther, who was the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. That was a huge moment. But now, it's kind of died out. Yeah, the reign was underrated. He's a good wrestler. I'm not saying his reign was shitty. But the hype around him winning, the hype around his title reign, kind of died out fast. Especially once Braun Breaker entered the picture. Now, honestly, if SummerSlam wasn't a big stage that you have guys like Braun Breaker win at, I would have said this match ended in Sami Zayn winning in a bullshit way. Like he wins by roll-up or something. And then it leads to a triple threat between Braun Breaker, Sami, and Bronson Reed. But obviously, that's out the window now, because Braun Breaker won regardless. I am happy Braun Breaker won. It's his time. The guy is a fucking beast in the ring. Hitting the ropes at more than 23 miles an hour is fucking nuts. The guy is incredibly agile. He's incredibly strong. He's incredibly fast for a guy that size. And you could tell he really knows how to work the ring. He really knows how to work the crowd. The guy is fucking incredible. It was his time. Do I think he could be a future world champion? He was NXT champ. But that's because that title, as prestigious as it is, isn't really up there on the level of the main card world titles. Can he be a world champion? Yeah, he already was. He was NXT champ. But can he be world champion? Honestly, can he carry the weight of being a world champion on the main roster and having everybody on the show coming for him? That so much, I don't know yet. I'm not doubting him. I'm not saying he's a bad wrestler. I'm not saying he can't do it. But for me, from my perspective, as happy as I am that he won the Intercontinental title, and as supportive of him as I am, I do not think he can hold a world title yet. What do you say the next move for Sammy? Him and Jay teaming up to get those tag titles from Finn and JD. I think so. I don't know if it happens at Bash in Berlin, though, per se. Because, obviously they're going to Berlin, Germany. I don't know if they let two Europeans that are current champions lose in their home country, even if it's to Sami Zayn and Jey Uso. I think if they're going to take the titles off of Judgment Day, and it's going to be Sami and Jey, I think it has to be later. Now, can they take the titles off of them? Sure. They've had people lose in their home countries before. We just saw Drew McIntyre get it stuffed up his ass by CM Punk in fucking Scotland. So they can have them lose in their home country, but I don't know if they will. If it's at Bash in Berlin, I think it's going to be a good match regardless of when it is. Obviously, I think it has to be pay-per-view. I don't think you can have another title reign end on a weekly episode of one of the weekly shows, like they did where Austin Theory and Grayson Waller lost to DIY on a regular episode of SmackDown, and then Awesome Truth lost their titles to Judgment Day on a regular episode of Raw. I do not think they will do that again, and I don't think they should either. Wait, what? Wait, what? Steve, can you scroll down on the caption real quick so I could see the rest of that? What? What the fuck? Hold on. Let me... Okay. What the fuck? Scroll... Can you scroll down on that? Okay, here we go. So is she retiring? I'm so confused. I mean, obviously we expect that at some point because she wants to actually be a mom for her child while she's still somewhat young and can move. So, I understand if it's coming soon. But is that shit, like, right now? Like, did she just announce that out of the fucking blue sky the day after SummerSlam? She just posted it a minute ago. Literally. She's actually retiring, bro? What the fuck? What the fuck? I mean, again, we expected it at some point so she could be with Rue early on while Rue is still somewhat young and while she can still, be a functioning mother and not have, an unfortunate injury that permits her from, walking or whatever. But what the fuck, dude? No way. Becky fucking Lynch retired? Wow. And the last fucking thing that we're ever gonna see from her on TV is her losing to Liv fucking Morgan, bro. Yo, no way, bro. Becky fucking Lynch retired. Are you dead ass? Wow, bro. That is fucking nuts, bro. That is fucking nuts, dude. Oh my god. On a random fucking Sunday night the day after SummerSlam. What the fuck? The day after SummerSlam. On the night of fucking August 4th in 2024. Becky Lynch just throws it out there. I'm retiring. What the fuck? Dude, that's crazy. What the fuck? Wow. I am so glad I looked at that message and didn't wait until the stream was over. Holy shit. Wow. That's not... So, did she just post that, like, as a follow-up to the documentary, and she called it in the documentary? Like Undertaker did? Or did the documentary air and now she's just saying that out of the fucking blue? Because Undertaker announced his retirement in his documentary. I mean, we knew his was coming too. But when he did it at the end of his documentary. So, documentary, and she posted it saying, so it just aired. Wow. So that shit, like, just happened. That's crazy. I didn't even know she was getting one, to be honest. Like, she isn't under contract, so they haven't talked about it on TV at all. Like, she's not under contract, so they haven't mentioned her name other than to mention that Liv Morgan beat her to win the title and then beat her again to retain it. Other than that, they haven't mentioned her at all on TV. That's fucking nuts. Wow, dude. That's fucking crazy, man. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Becky fucking Lynch retires. Thank you, Becky. Holy fuck. I wasn't the biggest fan of you for the last, like, year of your career. Year and a half. But Becky fucking Lynch retired. And she changed the game. She changed what it meant to be a women's wrestler in 2024. And I don't just mean in WWE. She changed that shit completely, universally. She changed what it means to be a women's wrestler in professional wrestling. She changed what it means to be a woman in professional wrestling in the modern era, in AEW, in TNA, in Ring of Honor, in fucking Irish promotions, in GCW, in ICW. She changed the landscape of women's wrestling. I didn't really like her in the last year of her career, like I said, but she changed the landscape of women's wrestling completely. Thank you, Becky. I will be posting something about that on my Twitter once the stream is over. Let me scroll back up. Let me find the thingy again and scroll back up so we can continue talking about SummerSlam here. All right. We talked about Braun Breaker. Oh yeah. Uh, I will end the Braun Breaker talk with the fact that I believe that if WWE does his reign right, which under Triple H, a title reign being done wrong is rare. He just did it to Bayley, unfortunately, but title reigns done wrong in the Triple H era are very rare. So if they do Braun Breakers right, which I expect them to, I think he could be champion for 250 to 300 days easily. The guy's a beast. Hell, he could take it over a year if he's handled properly. Moving on to the U.S. title match, LA Knight, Logan Paul. Obviously, LA Knight won. He is finally fucking champion after so long. He has been over with the crowd for so long, and they finally put a title on his waist. They finally say, here's your moment. SummerSlam, Cleveland, Ohio. You're beating Logan Paul. This dude is so over with the crowd. I don't know if it's the fact that he is so over with the crowd or Logan Paul is just hated by so many fucking people. But this dude, LA Knight, came out to 50,000 plus cheering. 50,000 plus yelling, yeah. This dude, Logan Paul, who was born in Cleveland, came out to 50,000 boos and 50,000 middle fingers and 50,000 fuck you Logan chants during the match. This dude, LA Knight, was more popular in Cleveland than Logan Paul was. And Logan was fucking born there. Like I said, I don't know if it was just the fact that LA Knight is just that over, or if it's the fact that people are just sick and tired of Logan fucking Paul. It's probably a mix of fucking both, to be honest. Because LA Knight's very much over. And people very much fucking hate Logan Paul. And the hate for Logan Paul doesn't just stem from him being a paper-ass U.S. champion and only defending the title one time in like 273 days. Obviously, the hate for Logan Paul stems from real life off of WWE TV shit too, with his YouTube, with his boxing, with people hating on Prime, with people hating on, him for his boxing career, people hating on him for his YouTube, people hating on him for his podcast. People do not like Logan Paul. So it's probably a mix of the fact that LA Knight is over and people don't like Logan Paul. But either way, LA Knight was over in Cleveland more than Logan was. And at the end of the day, the match was good. The match was actually very fucking great. Logan Paul has really come into himself as an in-ring performer. And although I didn't like his reign, although I don't particularly like him, as a wrestling fan, I have to acknowledge that he is a very good wrestler. He has really taken the time to learn the sport, to perfect the sport, to, understand the sport. And he's really come into himself as an in-ring performer and as a person. He's really gotten, he's really come into himself as a performer in the ring. He's really come into himself as a performer on the mic. Which obviously he has experience with that in the past because he's a YouTuber and he has a podcast and everything else. So obviously he has mic experience. But that's different. Doing that stuff is different from being able to do solid mic work in a pro wrestling atmosphere. And he has really come into himself in terms of being able to do that. And do it good. And he has been a good enough heel to where he had an entire arena of 50,000 people plus. An entire arena, the same arena where he grew up and still does watch, the Cleveland Browns, his hometown football team, play football. That same arena, which housed over 50,000 people last night. He is so over as a heel in terms of people hating him that he had 50,000 of his own fucking people booing him. The only people that weren't booing Logan Paul last night were his prime goofs, Machine Gun Kelly, Corey Graves, and Pat McAfee. Even Michael fucking Cole was booing that man. Michael fucking Cole hates a lot of people. Just ask him how he feels about Dominic Mysterio. Oh wait, you don't have to. Just go back and watch the clip of Dom kissing Liv Morgan last night. That'll tell you everything you need to know about how he feels about Dom. But regardless, the match was good. Logan Paul is an incredible performer. I hope he comes back to perform. I'm not saying give him a title again, but I'm hoping he comes back to wrestle more. If he doesn't, it was a hell of a career, but I hope he does because he's incredible in the ring. You know, he can really make a career out of being a pro wrestler if he chooses to, because he's just that good. You know, he never fails to give people a highlight moment in his matches. Every match he's ever had has been there's been at least one highlight moment out of it. He took Roman fucking Reigns, the top guy in the company right now, who at the time was champion for so goddamn long and was literally at the top of his fucking game. Logan Paul took him to the limit in Saudi Arabia. Logan Paul can actually make a career of being a professional wrestler. I'm not a particular fan of the guy, but as a wrestling fan, he can make a career out of it. He could make a career out of being a professional wrestler if he chooses to pursue that. Obviously, he's still got the podcast. He's still got the YouTube channel. He still has Prime. He has all this other stuff he's invested in. Obviously, you know, he's got all this stuff going for him. So he doesn't need WWE money. And he doesn't need a wrestling career. But if he was to choose to take that kind of career up, he would be successful at it. And getting the opportunity to work with guys that are pro wrestling veterans, Rey Mysterio, Roman Reigns, LA Knight, Ricochet, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, guys like that, getting to work with pro wrestling vets that have been wrestling since before they were Logan's age. I think he's 29 or 30 now. These guys, some of these guys he's worked with in his wrestling career have been wrestling when he was still a baby. Some of them even before he was born. Or some of them before he was born he was training, you know. So some of these guys, you know, that he's been working with were training to be wrestlers when he was born, you know. The guy is getting the opportunity to work with some of pro wrestling's best. You know, Randy Orton obviously been wrestling for 22 years now, almost 23. LA Knight has been in the business for 21 years. Former world champion. Randy Orton, former world champion. He's done everything there is to do in WWE. Kevin Owens, former world champion in both WWE and Ring of Honor and NXT. He is another one, been wrestling for so many years. Rey Mysterio, arguably the greatest luchador wrestler of all time, arguably the greatest Mexican wrestler of all time. One of the greatest of all time in general. Logan Paul getting to work with some of these guys has done nothing but help him. Obviously, you know, some of these guys have had to put him over, except for LA Knight. You know, all these guys have had to put him over. You know, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, they all had to put Logan over, which I'm sure from a perspective of workhorse, or from a perspective of professional wrestler versus social media clown that tries to take up pro wrestling, I'm sure they didn't want to do that. But at the end of the day, they understand it's a business, and if they are told you have to lose to this guy, they have to lose. Nobody likes to lose, especially not when your opponent is a fucking YouTube star that has only been in the wrestling business for about 2.5 years. But that's your job, to put certain people over in certain situations. And Logan Paul getting the chance to not only work in live action in front of people with these guys, but also work with them behind the scenes, off camera, in the ring during practice, in the ring during warm-ups and all that stuff, practicing the moves, practicing the spots, practicing the promos, getting advice from, people like Shawn Michaels, Arn Anderson, William Regal, Mick Foley, Ric Flair, Bret Hart, guys that are in the Performance Center, that are wrestling veterans, that are widely renowned around the world, that are some of the best that pro wrestling has to offer. Getting to get advice and work with some of these guys has done nothing but help Logan, and it's going to continue to do nothing but help Logan if he chooses to stick around. Now, moving on, what was after the Logan Paul spot? The Manscaped commercial with Alpha Academy, Apollo Crews, and Baron Corbin. That spot, that ad, obviously it's not a wrestling match. I'll still discuss it because it was a part of the show. But that ad was fucking hilarious. And that was definitely one of the best ads I've seen altogether on any platform. And it's one of the funniest I've seen on WWE TV for as long as I've been a wrestling fan. That was downright hilarious. Otis obviously playing into the role of being a goof so well again. That was just incredible. Next up. Oh, yeah. Nia Jax and Bayley. We mentioned Bayley earlier when I mentioned when I was talking Braun Breaker. We mentioned that, reigns that are done wrong are very hard to come by and very unlikely to happen in the Triple H era. But Bayley had one. And honestly, in the entire time that Triple H has been in charge, he's only fumbled 2 title reigns. And they both happened within the span of like 24 to 28 hours. He fumbled the DIY title reign. They were complete transitional champions, which is disgusting. He fumbled that by giving the titles to the Bloodline only like 2 weeks after DIY won them. And then he fumbled Bayley's title reign horribly. She won the title at WrestleMania. I don't remember, was she on night 1 or night 2? Whatever. She had like 118 or 119 days as champion. And in those 119 days, in those 100 something days, I honestly forgot she was champion at one point. Because she wasn't featured on TV, really. You know, she was featured on TV maybe 3 or 4 total weeks after winning the title. She was featured on the SmackDown right after WrestleMania. After that, she was featured maybe 2 other times. And then she was featured for 2 weeks straight leading up to SummerSlam to promote the feud with Nia. They did not give her a good reign at all. Now, granted, she defended the title a couple times off screen, but in terms of on screen reign, yeah, that was justice for Bayley, because that was a terrible reign. I forgot she was champion at one point, and she deserves better. She is so fucking talented in the ring, and they wasted 119 days worth of a title reign that they could have done so much with. Look what they did with Damian Priest's 118-day reign. He had banger matches against Gunther. He had banger matches against Drew McIntyre. Look at Cody Rhodes, 118 days as champion. He had banger matches against Solo Sikoa. A banger match. 2 banger matches against AJ Styles. He's been touring and having matches. He's been on TV every week cutting promos. Damian Priest has been on TV every week. If he's not in the ring doing a promo, he's backstage on TV with the title on his shoulder, with the title behind him, with the title in his hand somewhere. The titles were on TV. What did they do with Bayley? Nothing. Her title was seen maybe 5 times total in her title reign. That title was seen maybe 5 times, 6 at most, on TV since she was champion in 118 days. I did not expect Bayley to walk out with the title. I will make that clear. I did not expect her to come out with the title. But I did not expect Nia Jax to walk out with the title either. I expected it was either going to be Bayley wins, gets squashed by Nia, and then Tiffany Stratton cashes in. Excuse me as I'm inadvertently throwing up the ones for Roman Reigns right now. But I thought it was either going to be Bayley wins, gets squashed by Nia, Tiffany cashes in, or Nia wins, but she's injured and can't really walk, and Tiffany then cashes in again, or then Tiffany cashes in, similar to what Liv Morgan did to Ronda Rousey a couple years ago, where Ronda had a brutal match, I think against Charlotte. Yeah, Ronda Rousey had a brutal match against Charlotte. She won the match, but she couldn't really walk because her knee was damaged from Charlotte Flair having her in the figure 8 and stuff. And then Liv came out, capitalized, and won them, and cashed in and won. I was expecting something like that, or Bayley to win and get absolutely annihilated. And neither of the things I expected to happen or predicted would happen happened. Push for SmackDown on Friday, and I asked Tiffany why she was about to cash in, and Tiffany tells her that she did it. It's funny you mention that, because that was brought up on the commentary during SummerSlam. I believe it was Michael Cole that said it. It seemed like it was a plan all along. Obviously, I don't think that was the case. Excuse me. Obviously, I don't think that was the case, and I think that regardless of Nia, regardless of it seeming like it was planned, and regardless of Nia and Tiffany being friends, I think had Bayley not jumped in and stopped Tiffany from doing it, Tiffany was going to cash in and make it a triple threat. Michael Cole pointed it out, though, that it seemed like it was a plan It was a planned thing. Have Tiffany come out, her musical hit, she'll run down with a ref in the briefcase, and it'll distract Bayley enough for Nia to take advantage. Obviously, pointed out with that, I don't know if that was actually a plan. I don't think so. I think Tiffany was going to cash in if Bayley didn't stop her. But moving on, after Bayley and Nia, what did we have? Yeah, also, by the way, nobody could shit talk Bayley ever the fuck again, because people shit talked her, said she wasn't really strong, didn't really have power, this, that, the next thing, da 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 da. And then she single-handedly picked Nia Jax up off the ropes and powerbombed her. Nia Jax is not skinny. I don't say that in a rude manner. I say that in the sense of she is fucking monstrous. She is a lot of weight to put on your body to try to do a move like that too. And Bayley not only picked her up off the ropes to do it, but she picked her up off the ropes and carried her without any help. Carried her while Nia was up in the air from the corner almost to the middle of the fucking ring. So I don't want to hear shit from anybody about how Bayley's weak or Bayley sucks or this or that. She single-handedly, without any assistance, fucking carried and power slammed. Or not power slam. Fucking carried and power bombed Nia fucking Jax. That isn't an easy fucking task. At all. A normal fucking human being could not fucking do that. Before Bayley did that shit, honest to God, the only people on the roster that I could sit here and say I could believe could lift Nia Jax, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill. That's it. Nobody else. Nobody. Maybe Zoe Stark. Maybe Shayna Baszler. But definitely Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill. They're the only three that I would be able to sit there and tell you without a doubt could pick Nia Jax up off the ropes, carry her almost to the middle of the ring, and powerbomb her. And Bayley fucking did it. But moving on, the next match we had CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Obviously, we knew this match was coming eventually. For months now, CM Punk has been a thorn in the side of Drew McIntyre. He has been that one annoying bully that just won't fucking go away no matter how many times you retaliate against them. And no matter how many times you tell them, leave me alone, they refuse. He has been an absolute annoyance and an absolute pain for Drew McIntyre over the last couple of months, since even before WrestleMania. But it all started with WrestleMania. This whole big thing started with WrestleMania, with CM Punk screwing Drew McIntyre out of the title, leading to a Damian Priest cash-in, which obviously McIntyre did to himself because he decided to be funny, thinking he was being cocky, he decided to gloat to CM Punk's face. McIntyre did that one to himself. Nobody can be blamed for that one except McIntyre, because all he had to do was celebrate in the ring, go over to his wife, hug her, kiss her, celebrate with her, go to the back, and live on with his day as the champion. And instead, he chose to walk over to CM Punk, get in his face, and taunt him. And then he had the nerve to sit there and say, "You cost me my moment, Punk. You screwed me, Punk. You're the reason I'm not world champion today, Punk. You did that one to yourself." The other times? Yeah, that was just Punk being a fucking douche. And trying to further the storyline with Drew McIntyre. And being a complete asshole. Especially traveling all the way to Scotland. Thousands of miles across the fucking planet. Just to screw him out of the title. That is the ultimate. That is the description of ultimate fucking petty. Bro flew thousands of miles to Glasgow, Scotland, without having a match. No booking for him on the card at all. And he flies thousands of miles to Glasgow, Scotland, just to screw Drew McIntyre out of the championship. This match was very personal, because after Punk did that in Scotland, Friday on SmackDown, the next SmackDown episode in Chicago, Punk's hometown, McIntyre leaves him in a pool of his own blood, having to be stretchered out of the arena. And he takes the bracelet that Punk had on his wrist, which had his dog and his wife's name on it. And ever since, the storyline has been about that bracelet, which I don't agree with. The bracelet is what screwed Punk out of the match last night, because he was so focused on the fucking bracelet, and so focused on his emotions tied to the bracelet getting the best of him. And that's exactly what they did. His emotions connected with the bracelet because of it being his dog and his wife. His name's on the bracelet. He attacked Seth Rollins, got distracted from Drew McIntyre, and played himself. I think he did kiss that side, yeah. But that doesn't really play into anything, because, you know, he's been kissing it in the same fucking spot every time he does that. So regardless. But Punk did it himself. Do I like the way the match ended? No. But the match itself was a 5-star banger. Completely. 5-star banger. Incredible match. CM Punk proved all the doubters wrong. There was so many people doubting him that he couldn't do a long match anymore. That he didn't have what it takes to be a successful pro wrestler anymore. That he couldn't do half-hour plus matches. He proved everybody wrong. Because when he went out there, did a half-hour plus match and looked good doing it. He looked damn good doing it for his first match altogether since January, and his first singles match in almost 11 years. The guy looked great. And he had the match won. If he would have kept his emotions in check. Do I like that they had McIntyre win? No. Do I like that they had him? But I also don't hate that they had McIntyre win. I don't hate how that match ended. But I also don't like it either. I don't hate it because it opens the door for McIntyre Punk 2, Punk versus Rollins, and possibly a triple threat down, and possibly everything that happened in that match altogether could lead to a triple threat between the three of them at some point down the line, which would be an incredible match. That is a WrestleMania caliber match. That is not no Money in the Bank, no Clash at the Castle, no Elimination Chamber, no Hell in a Cell match. That triple threat, if it is to happen, has to be at WrestleMania next year in Vegas, or SummerSlam next year, wherever the hell it is, or Royal Rumble next year, wherever the hell it is. That match has to be on one of the main pay-per-views, if it happens. But I don't hate the ending because of those reasons, but I also don't like the ending because they hyped up Punk's return match. They had him, get over with the crowd, get the crowd all hyped up for his return, and everything. Just for him to lose. And it's not like he lost in a way where, okay, it doesn't bury him, it doesn't hurt him because, he passed out or, got, knocked out physically or couldn't medically continue, whatever. No. They physically had him get beat. 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. And they had it done by him being distracted. I just got sick. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Stop lying. Yo, bro, stop the cap. Cut it out. Yeah, I don't like that ending to Punk McIntyre, but I also, like I said, I also don't hate it. It opened doors for a second match in the Punk McIntyre feud. It opened the doors for a Punk Rollins feud. It potentially opened the door. Everything that happened in the match potentially opened the doors for a triple threat between them at some point. But in that process, it had Punk look very weak. They could have had it where he gets, the referee stops the match. They could have had it where the referee stops the match. Punk, gets knocked out, quote unquote, by being put to sleep or whatever, with a sleeper hold or something. They could have did it multiple ways to where Punk didn't look weak. And instead, they went with the option that made him look the most weak. They had him get pinned 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the fucking ring. And they had it done all because they had him be distracted by a fucking bracelet. Regardless of what the fuck is on the bracelet, they had him lose because of a fucking bracelet. That's the only thing I don't like about that match, is the way it ended. Let's see. Next match. Okay. The segment after the Punk McIntyre match, where Priest is getting ready and Finn Balor comes in and says that they couldn't find Dom anywhere. That whole story, that whole segment right there had no purpose. I'm not saying it wasn't a good segment or that it wasn't needed. The segment was needed. 100%. Segment was needed to have Finn's heel turn and Finn's betrayal make sense. 100%. That scene had to happen. That segment needed to be a thing for the fucking betrayal in the match to make sense. But other than further cementing Finn's heel turn and Finn's betrayal, that segment had no value. And other than to imply that Dom Mysterio is off the fucking map after betraying Rhea Ripley. That segment had no value other than those two things. To further cement Finn's fucking betrayal and to mention the fact that nobody knows where the fuck Dom went. And that he's just gone since he betrayed Rhea. Moving right into the Priest Gunther match. That match was incredible. I wanted Priest to win. I expected him to win, to be honest. Because although I do think Gunther is a world champion in the future, I didn't think he deserved to win it now. Because he really wasn't on TV. He won King of the Ring. And then, after winning King of the Ring, he was on Raw the very next Raw. After King of the Ring, he was on it. After that, gone. Ludwig Kaiser was on TV. Where the fuck was Gunther? Nowhere. And then, for the last 3 weeks leading up to SummerSlam, all of a sudden, Ludwig Kaiser's off TV, Gunther's back. What the fuck? Why wasn't Gunther on TV the last, couple weeks? I just didn't think he needed to be champion right now. In the future, yeah, 100%. But now, in the middle of one of the hottest title reigns in the company, in the middle of one of the better reigns in the company, in the middle of, this brand new era and arguably the best era we've ever seen in WWE, in the middle of all of that, Gunther did not need to be champion. Granted, we knew Priest vs. McIntyre was going to be a thing regardless. Granted, it doesn't need a title to be a draw, because it's two former Judgment Day brothers turned against each other. That match will draw regardless. But having the title there as an extra would have been so much better. It's bad I got more furious at Finn's betrayal on Damien than I was at Don's betrayal on Rhea. Well, no. Because as much as it was teased that there was going to be a Finn Balor betrayal on Damian Priest, it started to look like everything was going to be normal with them, at least for a little bit longer. They played it very fucking well with the whole, Finn Balor's not going to turn on Priest twist for him to do it. They played that really well with making it seem like he wasn't going to turn, and then on the night of SummerSlam where he was supposed to turn is when they start actually teasing that he's going to turn again. They did that really well. The entire time, it was pretty much obvious that Dom was going to turn on Rhea. As soon as Rhea came back, right as Dom was about to suck face with Liv in the middle of the ring after he beat his father for the first fucking time. As soon as she came back, everybody knew eventually the betrayal was going to be a thing. Because Dom was already folding. He was already betraying her without her being there. He was on the verge of sucking face with her in the middle of the fucking ring. Right before Rhea came back. So, everybody knew that Dom betrayal was going to be a thing. They didn't play that one as well in terms of hiding it as they did the Priest and Balor betrayal. The Priest-Balor betrayal was incredible. They made it seem like it was going to happen. Then they died it out. And they didn't pick it back up and have it be obvious until last night. Before the match. On the same night it was supposed to happen. They played the Balor betrayal on Damian Priest very fucking well. Very well. I'm happy with the way they played it. I hate fucking Finn Balor. I hope Damian Priest kicks his ass. Just like I hope Rhea gets her hands on Dom and kicks his fucking nuts so hard they go up into his fucking throat. But the Priest-Gunther match, like I said, was a banger. Absolute banger. I don't agree with them taking the title off of Priest at all. Definitely think they could have waited a little bit longer to do it. Definitely think if they were going to give the title to anybody and have Priest's reign end to anybody, it should have been Finn Balor. But they had it be Gunther instead. And all I could say is, as much as Gunther deserves to be world champion, as much as he's got the caliber to do it, as much as he is one of the greatest in the company right now and one of the best altogether in all of wrestling, I hope they do not put him on a 600 plus day reign like they did when he was NXT UK champion. Because when he was the champion of NXT UK, he held the title for 666 days. We just got through a 3+ year reign with Roman Reigns. We just got through a reign that almost lasted 1,100 fucking days. We do not need another year plus reign. He held the NXT Championship for over 800 days? No, they said, okay, well then, stupid fucks last night fucked it up. Because somebody, I don't know if it was Michael Cole or Corey Graves, but one of them fucking said that Gunther held it for 666 days. And it wasn't, they didn't say the IC title. They said the fucking NXT UK Championship. It was during the fucking intros. I don't remember which one of them it was, but they fucked it up. Regardless, that's even worse. We do not need another year-plus reign. 800 days would almost put him at 2 years as champion. We just got over almost an 1,100-day reign with Roman fucking Reigns. No more 2+ year title reigns. None of that shit. Give it to him for a year and a half max. Give it to him for 450 days max and have it be over. Fuck that shit. Fuck all of that shit. No more ridiculously long title reigns. Not for... I've saw enough of a title reign in Roman Reigns' near 1,100-day reign to last me a lifetime. And to know that I don't need to know that... And to know that I don't need another long-ass title reign like that for at least 20 years. Like, if I don't see another title reign like that until I'm fucking 43 years old, I'm okay with it. Because I can't stand long-ass title reigns like that. Granted, I love wrestling. And I will watch no matter what. No matter how pissed off I get. No matter how much I say I fucking hate this bullshit, I'm gonna stop watching. I will always watch fucking wrestling. Always. I just don't like seeing long-ass title reigns like that. I just think it kind of ruins the prestige of the title a little bit. I just don't agree at all with the fact of doing long title reigns like that. It just feels to me like the prestige of the title, at least a little tad, is getting ruined, and I can't stand it. Because there's people that deserve them, that have to put over the current champion just because the company wants the guy to hit a certain day mark before he ends. Now, granted, do I think Roman Reigns, when they first, made the plans for him to win the Universal title from The Fiend, and in that match with Fiend versus Braun Strowman? No. I do not think that was the plan at all. I do not think they went into it, oh, we're going to have Roman be champ for 3 years. I didn't think they fucking had that planned at all. I think they might have had it planned for a year. And then they decided again, okay, let's do it for another year. And then they said, alright, let's do it another year. I don't think it was planned out that way right from the get-go. To have him go on a fucking 1,000-something day reign as a champion and hold one title hostage. I don't think they had plans that far back in advance to unveil a new championship that can act as a world title because one guy has 2 world titles held hostage. I don't think they had that plan. Maybe they did. Maybe they're fucking creative geniuses and they had it planned from the jump. But I don't think so. Regardless. Moving on to the main event. Well, actually, moving on to the segment in between in between the 2 main events. The Miz and R-Truth with Jelly Roll, Grayson Waller, and Austin Theory. That segment to me felt like it was a spot filler and a time filler. I felt like either they put that segment out there either because they needed to hit their time slot, Cody and Solo weren't quite ready yet, so they threw that out there to give them that extra little bit of time, or Roman Reigns was not in the building yet, and they needed him to be there. Because he was supposed to return. So they needed him to be there, and he wasn't at the arena yet, so they had to come up with something to give the fans while he was still getting there. To be honest, with the way he came out, I don't think he was there all night. It just gave me a vibe that when he came out, it just gave me a vibe that he just showed up. Like, I honestly think they did that spot filler to give it extra time for him to show up. He didn't show up anyway. The segment was over. So they said, fuck it, we can't wait anymore. We have to go. We have to do the main event. So they did the main event, and as it got to the part where he was supposed to come out, he got there. Because it looked like he legitimately just showed up. Like, it did not look like... He did not have the look of a guy who was chilling backstage all night, waiting for that moment to come. For his music to hit and him to go out and attack Solo. It did not look... He did not have that look of that kind of guy. He had the look of a guy who was a little bit jet-lagged from a flight or was a little bit tired from a long drive and had just showed up at the arena. I could be wrong, but he did not look like a Roman Reigns that was well rested, just chilling in the back waiting. He looked like a Roman Reigns that was tired or jet lagged and had just arrived. Nonetheless, the main event, Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa. This match did not honestly at first impress me. I was not invested in this fucking match at all. Even with the rumors of a possible Roman Reigns return, even with the rumors of a possible Jimmy Uso return, even with the rumors of a potential Jey Uso interference, I was not invested because I'm just not a fan of Solo at all. I'm not a fan of Solo. I've never really been a fan of Solo. So I just wasn't invested in this match. I just thought it was a terrible match, especially to serve as the main event for a big pay-per-view like SummerSlam. And then it got announced as Bloodline Rules on Friday night. The Friday before the SmackDown, right before SummerSlam. The SmackDown the night before SummerSlam. It got announced as Bloodline Rules. And that is what got me invested. And I only got invested because of how hectic Bloodline Rules was at WrestleMania. Bloodline Rules was incredibly hectic and absolutely nuts at WrestleMania. Now, granted, this time around it wasn't as crazy because we knew most of the people that would be coming out already, whereas at SummerSlam or at WrestleMania, we only knew of 2 people that would show up. And we knew that it was Jimmy Uso and Solo. We had no idea, besides Jay, who would come out to help Cody. We had no idea if anybody would come out to help Cody. We knew it was either going to be Jay or Sammy to come out and help Cody. But besides that, we didn't know anybody else. Nobody expected John Cena, and nobody sure as shit expected The Undertaker. Especially because for weeks before that fucking match, for weeks before WrestleMania, it was heavily rumored that Stone Cold was going to be the one to show up. And even after the match, even after WrestleMania had ended, it was confirmed that WWE was in talks with Stone Cold to get him to come back for that spot that Undertaker took. But they couldn't come to a contractual agreement in terms of money. So Stone Cold didn't show up, and they needed somebody to do it. So who did they call? The Undertaker. Why? Because as much as he might be retired and as much as he might not want to be doing any physical things related to wrestling anymore, the guy's heart is still in WWE, and whenever they call for him to do something, he's gonna answer, because he's the fucking Undertaker. He devoted his career to that company. He devoted over 30 years of his life to not just professional wrestling, but to WWE. He was there throughout 30 plus years as a wrestler. He was there for 4 or 5 different era changes. His life was devoted to pro wrestling, so regardless, he was going to answer. But the match itself was good. Like I said, we didn't know anybody. We knew pretty much everybody that was going to come out. We knew Jacob Fatu. We knew Tama Tonga. We knew Tonga Loa were all going to show up. We knew Kevin Owens and Randy Orton were going to show back up, especially once Arn Anderson told Cody, you have friends and you already know some of them. They're on their way. Once he said that, it was pretty much known it was Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. Because it couldn't be Sami Zayn, because Sami Zayn was already there. He wouldn't be on his way. He was already there because he had a match. It couldn't be Jey Uso, because they wouldn't pull Jey Uso in just to do one little thing. And he wasn't really friends with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. So that wouldn't make sense either. So it had to be Randy Orton and KO. So we knew that. But what nobody knew was if Orton and KO got taken out, or if they fought with 2 of them outside of the arena, or if they fought with 2 of them, taking them out of the ringside area, who would come out next? Obviously, we saw Jacob Fatu come out after Orton and KO had fought Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa all the way to the back. Once those 4 were out, Jacob Fatu showed up. Okay, now it's a 2-on-1 again. Solo and Jacob Fatu teaming up on Cody. So who the fuck is going to come out for Cody? Obviously, it was rumored Roman Reigns was going to come back. It was rumored it could be Jey Uso. It was rumored it could be Jimmy. And then Jacob Fatu basically takes himself out by unfortunately getting injured. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. He unfortunately takes himself out. And then Solo and Cody fight a little bit in the ring, and then they're both down, and all of a sudden a new music hits, and if not for the head of the table graphic across the fucking banners in the arena and across the main stage banner, nobody would have known who it was, because it didn't start how his tribal chief theme from his 3-year reign started. It started different, and it had a war drum sound effect merged into it. It's still his theme from his tribal chief days when he was the champion, but they put more of a face touch on it and made it seem like It's a war theme now, and he's always coming out to be ready for war because it had war drums over it, which I thought was awesome. But without the head of the table graphic, nobody would have fucking known who that was. They could have came up with a completely different graphic or just showed nothing and had black be on the screens and had the music hit, and nobody would have known until they started playing the part that everybody recognized, merged behind all the other stuff. Because it sounded way different. I didn't know who it was at first until I saw the head of the table graphic. Granted, I was not really looking at my screen when he came out. I was looking at my phone on and off in that match because the match, as solid as it was, the match really didn't have me invested. So I was glancing at the match, looking at my phone, glancing at the match, looking at my phone. I was looking back and forth. And I heard music hit, but I didn't pay any mind to it. I looked up at the screen after a little bit, and I saw a blue graphic, and I'm like, who the fuck is this? Who the fuck is this new guy coming out? And then I saw the Roman Reigns across the screen, and I'm like, holy fucking shit. It's Roman Reigns. Like, they could have did some funky shit with the graphics on the Titantrons and shit across the arena to where, nobody would have known who the fuck was coming out. Until it got to that part in the song where it sounds, you could hear his old theme from when he was Tribal Chief days. From when he was champion. You can hear it at one point in the sound, or in the song, but nobody would have picked up on it right away. It would have been crazy. But Roman Reigns came out, he attacked Solo, which they honestly did a good job of. I didn't catch it at first. When I first watched it through, I had to watch it again and see. On the second watch through, I noticed it. They did a good job with having it be a mystery on who he would attack. They never had somebody accidentally leak it. They didn't have, one of the announcers didn't accidentally slip up and say it or anything, And they had Roman get in the ring, pump his fist to do the Superman punch, and charge, all while facing Cody. So they played it really well to make it seem like it was unclear who he was going to attack. It would have been even more unclear who he was going to attack had Solo Sikoa not said, if Roman Reigns wants the crown back and wants the throne back, he can come and try and take it. And then the week after that, look Cody in the face and call Roman Reigns weak on live TV. If Solo hadn't done those things, it would have been a complete mystery who Roman was going to attack. I mean, obviously people would have been putting it together regardless that it was going to be Solo. But it would have been a much bigger mystery, and they would have had a much better job done on their hands had they not had Solo say that Roman Reigns can come and try and take his crown back, and that he was a tribal chief that was weak. But regardless, overall, the event was amazing. Way better than last year. I give it 4 stars total and a 9 out of 10. Final comments. I'm going to say We need more matches to have Seth Rollins as referee, because Rollins Rules is one of the most nuts fucking normal stipulation matches ever. You know, obviously, we saw what happened with Rollins Rules in Punk McIntyre. McIntyre and Punk were beating the shit out of each other, and Rollins was pretty much acting like he was blind to it all. So we need more matches like that with referee Rollins. We need referee Rollins more often. That was awesome. The whole show was awesome. From Jelly Roll performing to start the show to Roman Reigns fucking returning to end the show, it was incredible. It was a hell of a night. And I don't know how they're going to top it next year with SummerSlam. I don't know how they're going to top it at the end of the month. I don't know how they're going to top it on the last Saturday of the month with when they do is it Bash in Berlin? Yeah. I don't know how they do. I don't know how they're going to top this SummerSlam with Bash in Berlin. I don't know if they can. And I don't know how or if. I don't know how they're going to or if they can top this year's SummerSlam with next year's. Because last year's SummerSlam was okay. It wasn't the best, but it was okay. This year blew last year's out of the fucking water by a mile. SummerSlam Cleveland will not only go down as one of the greatest WWE events in history, will not only go down as one of the greatest SummerSlam events in history, but SummerSlam Cleveland will forever be known as way fucking better and way more superior to SummerSlam Michigan last year. I'm excited for what the future holds for WWE as a whole, as well as what is going to happen, as well as I'm excited to see what's going to happen with the Judgment Day, what's going to happen with Roman Solo, what's going to happen with Liv and Rhea, what's going to happen with Dom and Rhea, what's going to happen with Priest and Balor, what's going to happen with Cody. Where's he go from here now? Who's going to emerge as Gunther's first challenger? I think it has to be Ilya Dragunov, to be honest. But I'm excited to see. This is going to be a crazy 2 nights of wrestling. And we have the second night of Great American Bash on NXT on Tuesday. Obviously, a lot of people don't really care about NXT, but this is going to be a crazy fucking week for WWE fans. Great American Bash Night 2 on Tuesday. The fallout from SummerSlam on the Raw side on Monday. The fallout from SummerSlam on the SmackDown side on Friday. WWE fans are going to be in for some incredible fucking treats this week, in terms of what the fuck could happen. We'll probably see a new challenger emerge for Liv if it doesn't turn out to be Rhea again. We'll probably see the first challengers emerge for Nia Jax, Braun Breaker, LA Knight, Gunther. We'll probably see challengers emerge for Judgment Day and the Bloodline. We'll probably get a further evaluation on if Roman Reigns will wrestle or not at Bash in Berlin. We'll probably get a We might see more returns. We might see more debuts. We might see, we might see some debuts. We might see some more returns. We might get a Jimmy Uso return. It's going to be crazy. This week of wrestling is going to be fucking nuts. Incredibly fucking nuts. What's the word, yo? What's good, CJ? Since we're at that stage of things now, I want to ask whoever is still watching this. I know we're almost at a 2-hour live stream. That's crazy. This is the longest stream I've ever done non-gaming and not on Twitch ever. This is incredible. But I want to ask whoever's still sticking around, whoever's still watching, what are some of your predictions for Raw and SmackDown? I'm excluding NXT because, honestly, even though it's Great American Bash, NXT had nothing to do with SummerSlam. So, I'm excluding that. But what are some predictions for Raw and SmackDown? Obviously, we know we're going to see... I'm sure we're going to see Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest probably going to come out together. I'm sure we're going to see LA Knight on SmackDown on Friday. I'm sure we're going to see Braun Breaker tomorrow night. We're probably going to see Cody tomorrow night. I'm sure we're going to get a better idea on who could be Gunther's first challenger for Bash in Berlin. Like I said, I think for Bash in Berlin, Gunther has to face Ilya Dragunov. And if not the first, he needs to be one of the first. Because that match is always a fucking banger. Every time they wrestled on NXT UK, the match was a banger. It was a 5-star match. It was, even if it wasn't for the title, it was a 5-star match. So I think it'll become more clear. Obviously, they're probably going to do a battle royal or a tournament or something to determine the challenger for Gunther, and it'll probably be Ilya winning it. As far as the women's titles go, I don't see Tiffany Stratton cashing in on Friday. I don't see her cashing in at Bash in Berlin. The earliest I see her cashing in is Bad Blood. Because I think that's what's next after Bash in Berlin, if I'm not mistaken. The earliest I see her cashing in is whatever pay-per-view is after Bash in Berlin. I think it's Bad Blood. But, obviously, as far as the women's titles go, like I said, I don't know who Nia could face, because on SmackDown... SmackDown's women's roster. I'd have to say Bianca Belair, I think, or Jade Cargill. But I really don't think they are going to give Jade Cargill a match for the title before they give one to Bianca. I really don't. And if they do, that'll be crazy. But I don't think they will. I can't see them giving Jade Cargill a women's title opportunity before they give Bianca Belair another one. I think the most possible I think the most possible coming off SmackDown to face Nia, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky. Wait, no, they're on Raw. Never mind. Are they on Raw? Yeah, they're on Raw. Never mind. So Jade Cargill, Bianca, Naomi, or I don't know. I'm gonna head to sleep, dog. Good night. I got work at 7. All right, peace, bro. Have fun at work. My hair's been pissing me off this entire fucking time. I brushed it today and it fucking... I've been glancing at it on the screen as I've been fucking talking here, and it's been pissing me off the entire time. Literally, I don't want to see Nia versus Chelsea Green. If anything, if they're gonna go... Every match has somebody from Europe or Germany in it, then Nia versus Piper Niven is a real possibility. Would the match draw? Probably not. But she's the only one that I can think of from SmackDown that is European. Or from a city, or from a territory that's in Europe, at least. For Liv, I think the most likely challenger at Bash in Berlin again is Rhea. If not Rhea, then I honestly don't know. Because I think Rhea is the obvious choice for this. Because she is from Australia, which is European as far as I know. And even if it's not, Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley Part 2 will be way more of a draw than Liv Morgan versus anybody on that fucking Bash in Berlin card. Especially now with Dom Mysterio turning on Rhea. For talking world titles, like guys, Gunther has to face Ilya Dragunov, I think. As for Cody on SmackDown, I don't think it'd be Randy Orton. I don't think they would do that early. I think it would probably end up being another member of the Bloodline again. It'd probably be Jacob Fatu or Tama Tonga, or if he's around by then, Zilla or somebody. I don't know. I don't know really anybody that would really fit the bill to face Cody Rhodes at Bash in Berlin. I don't know anybody who is European or specifically German that's on SmackDown. Another option for Gunther for the world title too would be Sheamus, because he's been feuding with Gunther in the past. He recently feuded with Ludwig Kaiser too, who was with Gunther. So he's an option too. They could have out of nowhere Giovanni Vinci show up. He's German, so I think he may show up at some point, probably to get involved in Gunther's match, or show up after Gunther's match. because I don't think they have Gunther lose in Bash in Berlin. So I definitely think he's showing up. It'll probably be afterwards. As for all the other matches, I don't really know. I'm not really in the loop on who's on what show, to be honest. Besides all the main stars. So I'm really at a loss, to be honest. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here because we are approaching the 2-hour mark of stream. I thank all of you who showed up, whether you're still here or not, for pulling up, talking, listening. Appreciate all of you. SummerSlam was an absolute banger. Looking forward to Raw tomorrow. Looking forward to SmackDown on Friday. And I'm looking forward to Bash in Berlin at the end of the month. WWE is about to get real fucking crazy. Appreciate y'all. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.